Hey guys, what is happening? I'm live for day 9 of the Hormone Diaries. I'm coming to you a little bit early today because I'm off to the cinema with my daughter later to watch the new Despicable Me film. So, and that's around tea time, which is when I would usually do this. So I thought I would do it now. Otherwise, what would happen is I'd either forget or I'd run out of time and my energy wouldn't be the same. So I thought I'd come to you early. If you haven't seen one of my Hormone Diary lives before, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. And I hope that you will find this interesting. Hang on one second. Very pretty. Okay. I hope you find this interesting. This is day 9 of a series that I kind of just went impromptu with because I was feeling particularly low. And as I know for a fact, I'm in perimenopause stage of my menstrual cycle and sort of physiological changes, I thought it would be useful for me to be able to process how I'm feeling, but also for all of you, regardless of your age and stage of your... Go away now. She does this every single time, even though she's pinky promised me that she would not disrupt. Don't distract me. The joys of working from home and home editing. Anyhow, where was I? Where was I? Yes. So I thought this would be useful for basically whoever's watching. And even if you're not a female watching this and you're a male and you have a female partner, or you've got sisters, aunties, friends, it's actually useful for you to hear what I've got to say so that you can become more knowledgeable and help support, out of the frame, help support your women folk in just being able to observe how they behave, act, feel at various stages of their month, okay? Because just being aware of these things is powerful. The more you become connected to this information, the more useful it is for the women folk, if you're a man watching this, but also it becomes an empowering thing. It can absolutely help to improve relationships because you have that understanding of what a woman goes through, not just on a monthly basis, but in her life in terms of how her body changes. So I'm just using this as a platform to help you guys kind of understand in a real-time situation how these cycle changes are affecting me, and why it's relevant to you if you're, say, 15 and you're female and you're watching this. Because a lot of you may go, well, you're way older than me, this is not relevant, but actually it's completely relevant. Because if you're a female and you've got female reproductive parts, these changes will happen to you at a certain stage of your life. Our bodies don't ever stay the same. And if you can understand these things now, or at least be aware of what might happen, then you're already way more empowered than I was at 15. And a lot of the women in my generation, because we didn't have this information readily available. We've grown up, being made to believe that periods are something that you should really just not talk about. And because of that, they become things to demonize you and to weaponize against you, and make you feel shameful and disgusting. And actually, it's just a really natural thing that your body's going through. And if you really take time to understand the science behind it, it's pretty incredible what our bodies are able to do. and keep doing regardless of the stress that we put them under. Okay, so in terms of having information, it's about me empowering you so that you don't live your life believing that being a woman is the worst possible thing in the world, because it's not. We're actually very powerful creatures. Okay, so that being said, the Hormone Diaries work like this. I will tell you what day of the Hormone Diaries we're on, and currently we're day 9. I'm not coming to you every day because some days maybe I'm feeling the same as I did the last time I did a live. So I'll only come on when I've got something, worthwhile to share. But I'm trying for every day. I'll tell you what day of my personal cycle I'm on. The reason I know is because I track my cycle using an app. And if you don't already track your cycles, I would encourage you to do that. Okay, there's loads of apps out there. Everyone has a phone. And if you don't want to use your phone, or you don't have a phone, then use pen and paper, right? A journal, a calendar, whatever. I'll then tell you what phase of the menstrual cycle my day sits in, and what that means in terms of what's happening for you, what the normal symptoms to expect are for that phase, and what I'm currently experiencing, so that you've got both age range, like you've got the young version, normal cycle, and what to expect if you're at my stage of life where I'm in perimenopause, right? Where my body is going through some significant hormonal changes. So you'll get both. I'll also, because I'm a bit of a moon nerd, I love connecting with the energies of the moon and astrology. And not everybody's into that, but you might find it interesting. The reason I find it interesting is because I've noticed quite significant correlation between energy levels and moods at particular times of the moon cycle. So at a new moon and a full moon, I have very significant energy level changes, which I will go into probably another live. But I will give you what phase the moon is at and why that might be important, and how that might be showing up for you if you're interested. And then also how to support yourself during the phase of the cycle that I'm talking about, okay? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. I will try and keep everything that I tell you about in simple terms. Anything that I think needs extra explanation with like correct terminology and things like that, I will write a post about it. Other than that, I would encourage you to do your own research and get yourself clued up, because it is a really complex area to get your head around. There's lots of sciencey words for everything, and even now I'm struggling sometimes to, like, I will always check something. I've got whatever I'm going to tell you about now, I've got it up on my laptop so that I give you the correct information, because my brain just cannot retain that kind of information. I'm also ADHD, so I know that these hormonal changes will be affecting me in a different way to a neurotypical person. So I'm just adding that as a flavour as well. Okay, so I am day 19 of my cycle, and that means I am now officially in the luteal phase. And what the luteal phase is all about is the body's way of preparing your womb lining for a potential pregnancy. So what it will do is it thickens the wall of your womb, right, to really pump it full of nutrients and prepare it for the potential growth of an embryo into a baby. Okay, and this happens every single month. So any egg that that was released during the last phase in ovulation, any egg that hasn't made it, hasn't met a sperm, hasn't been fertilized, will eventually obviously reach its way. They dissolve, but then all of that matter makes its way into the womb, and whatever is not utilized is shed, and that's when we get the bleed phase of our period, which is the menstrual phase. Okay, so you've got follicular, ovulatory, luteal, and then we've got menstrual. So basically, my body is now preparing for a potential pregnancy, and I know that obviously I'm not going to be pregnant, so I know I'm going to have a period. Now, because I am in perimenopause, I don't know, I roughly know when I will start that bleed, but they have become more irregular. So my cycle lengths have shortened and increased in duration. Okay, so again, that's why it's super important to track your cycle so that you know what to expect and it not be catching you out. Okay, bear with me.
How long until we go? How many hours?
2.5.
Okay, I'm gonna text down.
Okay, so what normally your normal, when I say normal, I'm talking about anyone that's probably not in perimenopause, doesn't have any other conditions like endometriosis, PCOS, because those have their own symptoms and I don't want to get things confusing for you. So just normal, everything's kind of working as it should be. If my eyes divert here, it's because I'm giving you the correct information because my brain can't retain it. So the symptoms that you should expect during this phase are potentially irritability, maybe like a low mood, anxiety, mood swings, and your energy may start to wane a bit. This is not a good time to do high intensity exercise because your body is really, imagine you preparing for, okay, let's talk about the England footballers, right? Before they prepare for a game, they will do loads of different things in order to make sure that their body is absolutely 100% geared up for their next game. And that will include all sorts of things, including really good nutrition, maybe an increased intake in certain food groups like carbs, so they've got loads of energy, loads of rest. They will probably have therapeutic massage and stuff for any muscles that aren't necessarily working to their optimum level. They will have ice baths, all of that stuff, right? And they will really go into that preparation zone so that when they go for their next match, they're playing at peak performance, right? Imagine that is your body, right? Your body is preparing for its peak performance, which is essentially growing a child, okay? So you have to look after this body and not put it under any undue stress. And that includes doing high intensity exercise, when actually what it needs to do is just slow down a bit. That's not to say you can't exercise, but you need to like cut out the high intensity stuff, okay? For me, my symptoms, like today, I'm feeling a lot perkier than I have been the last couple of days. And ultimately, the thing that is a constant theme for me and has been for a long time is fatigue, right? Yella, out. Fatigue and just this constant feeling of tiredness. So, and then on top of that, obviously I'm perimenopausal. So my symptoms are usually based around the fact that I feel really, really tired, because tiredness can really affect you. When I'm tired, like my serotonin levels are down, my dopamine levels just feel really down. And those are the chemicals you need to feel good and buzzing and vibrant. But those things also lean into low mood, anxiety, depression, if you've not got enough of those feel-good hormones, right? Plus, those feel-good up-tempo hormones, if you like, are the ones responsible for, or some of the ones that are responsible for sending specific messages to the brain. Now, if you've got decreased levels of those things, then obviously the brain's not going to get the right information at the right time. So this is why you've really got to pay attention to how your body's feeling. connect with it. The simplest way to do this is to slow down, right? Have regular points during the day where you just stop. And you don't have to do anything fancy, but just stop. And just feel what your body does when it stops. You'll be able to feel it humming, vibrating. There might be pulsating, maybe in your head, in your neck, in your gut, anywhere, right? And that is your body communicating with you a message. And it's down to you to try and decipher what that message is, right? So if you've got like a throbbing in your shoulders, is that because you've got tension there? And if you have, where's that tension come from? And what are you going to do about it, right? Do you just need a little rub? Do you need to have a nice warm bath? Do you need to get a heat pack? Do you need to like back off from work a bit? Is that what's causing the tension in your neck? So all of these things really help you to connect with your body. So in terms of my tiredness, I've basically been sleep deprived since Yella was born almost 8 years ago, right? She didn't sleep through the night for 3 years. And so it's very hard for me to decipher where my tiredness is actually coming from at any given time, because I am continually in what professionals call sleep deficit, right? I have had so little sleep over the last 8 years that my body, I don't think, will ever catch up to where I was at before I gave birth, which is a depressing thought, right? Completely depressing. However, it's a fact that I need to live with, but it doesn't mean that I have to feel exhausted all the time. There are things I can do to increase my levels of vitality. And for me, as I'm getting older, it is resting more. You know, I'm a go, go, go kind of person. I don't like to be sitting around doing nothing. My mind is always busy. And I think because, again, I'm ADHD, I find it really difficult to switch off. So if my body's still, my brain is still active. So I'm never completely fully at rest. But because I know that I can do things about it, like rest, like slow down, like eat better, like change up my exercise type based on which phase of my cycle I'm at, so that I'm not creating stress hormone, cortisol, by training so hard against what my body really wants, which is to rest. Okay, so really connecting with that. So I'm finding it really difficult to decipher, even with all of this awareness. Hi, Ange. I'm finding it really hard, even with all of this awareness about my body and how it works and how it's changing. I still find it difficult to decipher where the tiredness is actually coming from, because I'm in this 8-year sleep deficit. Okay, but awareness is key. That is literally the first step. And if you can be more aware of how your unique body works, then you are 10 steps ahead of people that aren't aware. Okay. So the moon phase we're in, so that sort of takes care of the symptoms at the moment. It doesn't mean that you have to accept these symptoms as gospel, you know, just because I'm saying that common symptoms are irritability, depressed mood, anxiety, means that you are definitely going to feel that way. What I'm saying is that they're likely. And if you are predisposed to those particular symptoms, like I suffer from anxiety, if I know that there's a likelihood that I could feel more anxious, then again, I will pick the tools out of my toolbox that I have gathered over the years and apply those to my life before I get to the anxious bit. And before my anxiety gets elevated, I will try and prevent that from happening rather than firefight it when it happens. Because when those sort of crisis points happen, you might not be able to think clearly enough to, you know, get yourself out of it quickly. So prevention is the key. So in order to support yourself, again, I'm just looking over here because I'm not good at retaining information. So some useful ways to help yourself out during the luteal phase, which is where I'm at, day 19, which lasts about, it's basically from now until the time that you actually start bleeding, which is usually from now about another 9 or 10 days. Okay, again, if you're irregular, it might be a shorter period of time until you bleed or a longer period of time. So the first thing is, don't skimp out on carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are pasta, rice, potatoes in their bare minimum form. You know, anything that helps to fill you up, that gives you energy, porridge oats, all of that. Make sure that you're not restricting that, because your body needs it and your brain needs it, okay? Second, honor the need to really slow down and really feel your emotions without judgment, you know? If you're feeling a little bit sad, ask yourself why. Why am I feeling sad? And just sit with it and see what comes up, you know? Again, with no judgment. We're all allowed to feel our feels, and we all feel differently at different parts of our life and of different parts of the day. And again, this is where I was at, like at the start of this series. I was like, God, I just feel so and I don't really know why. And it wasn't until I started asking myself why and connecting with other people that kind of understand the menstrual cycle and hormone changes at my age and all of that, that it started to make sense to me. Number 3, slow and steady. So going back to what I said about training, lay off the high intensity cardio, the like intense weight sessions, you know, where you're really like groaning because you feel like you're going to pass out. None of that is important. Still train, but go easy. You know, you don't need to be killing yourself, because you'll remember your body is priming itself for that peak performance of potentially growing a child, much like a footballer trains for like the World Cup, right? There are certain things that your body will do to prepare you for that. So honor that, yeah? Magnesium is a great source of, it's a supplement that you can take, or you can have like magnesium baths, you know, magnesium salt bath. It's a really good supplement to take to increase your energy level. I take it now daily because I just need it. Like, anything to pep me up, but it's particularly important at this phase of your menstrual cycle because it helps with all of the processes that are happening within. Reduce your amount of caffeine and alcohol, anything actually that will create inflammation in your body, because remember, when we get to the bleed phase, we actually feel, you know, we feel bloated, we feel sore, we're just about to shed the lining of our womb, right? Blood is going to come out, it's going to make us feel rubbish. So the last thing we want is to feel more inflamed and more sore, okay? So in order to help you with your period and those symptoms that accompany your period, it's really important to reduce what those symptoms might be like, right? Because if you're caning the wine on the run up to your period, and you normally have quite heavy periods or periods that cause you real discomfort, that alcohol intake is going to make you feel even worse. It will make you feel even worse, okay? So reduce all of that out. And I'm a coffee addict, so I have to be careful. So I now limit myself to 2 coffees a day, and I try not to drink caffeine after, say, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, because it gives me the jitters. So just do what feels good for you. And there are things that you can do to reduce the bloat that you might be feeling. Again, I'm not a nutritionist, right? But dandelion, fennel, turmeric, and ginger tea, they're all things that will reduce inflammation. If you don't like herbal teas, but you like a smoothie, chuck a bit of raw, you know, like fresh ginger into your smoothie each day, and that will help reduce inflammation. Plus, it's an absolute powerhouse of a antioxidant. It's a real zinger as well, so it'll give you energy too. So that, hopefully, will help you minimize the symptoms when you come into your next phase. So I'm hoping that that has been really helpful. I would love to hear your comments on these lives. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep helping you become more in tune, more connected, more empowered in your own body. That is my mission. Whatever your age and stage of life, that is my mission. Okay, I want girls and women to really stand strong in their feminine truth and get rid of all of this conditioning, all of this narrative that, you know, what we go through is disgusting, it's a weakness, you know, that we're just hormonal mental cases. It's absolutely not the case at all. And all of that narrative just makes us believe it. And that is not good for our self-esteem, nor is it good for our belief, nor is it good for us actually aspiring to what we dream for ourselves in this world. It just keeps us small. So let's reclaim that power by understanding how our bodies work and making friends with it, you know, and using it to our advantage. Okay. I've talked about that in one of my other lives, about using the knowledge about your menstrual cycle to your advantage. And I'm going to do some more about that over the coming days. I'm hoping to do Hormone Diaries for the duration of July. I'm actually away camping for a few days from Sunday, so I will try and do the lives whilst I'm away, but if I don't, then that's why I'm absent, but I still will be posting stuff. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you found this useful, and go check out my feed for other diaries that I've put on, and I'll see you again soon. Lots of love. Thanks for watching. Bye.